News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Dan Schwarzman. Axios reports that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is on the verge of cutting business ties with Anthropic and designating the AI company a, quote, supply chain risk, meaning that others wanting to do business with the U.S. military would have to cut ties with the company. Anthropic's CEO wants to ensure its Claude AI model is not used to spy on Americans en masse or used to fire weapons without humans. The company and the Pentagon have held talks for months on the terms under which the military can use the software, with Claude currently the only AI model available in the military's classified systems. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is making the rounds of Eastern Europe, meeting with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban in Budapest. Orban is up for re-election in April, but is set to sign a civil nuclear cooperation agreement with the U.S., backed by President Trump.
I can say to you with confidence that President Trump is deeply committed to your success, because your success is our success.
The stop-off in Hungary follows Rubio's visit to Slovakia and the Munich Security Conference in Germany. But Hungary and Slovakia represent friendly territory for Rubio as he pushes to shore up energy agreements with both countries. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has proposed terms to President Trump for a de-escalation deal with Iran ahead of its nuclear talks tomorrow in Switzerland. Israel says the Islamic Republic should not possess enriched material or nuclear enrichment capabilities. Netanyahu has also suggested limiting Iran's range on ballistic missiles. Meanwhile, President Trump's newly created Board of Peace is expected to meet in Washington this week to talk about rebuilding Gaza. Trump says members will discuss $5 billion in commitments, even though some reports estimate construction could cost up to $70 billion. Warner Brothers Discovery is considering reopening sales talks with Paramount Skydance after Paramount sweetened its bid for the studio last week, as well as addressed several concerns. Bloomberg's Tony Shushka has details.
The Paramount offer, the most recent one, which they now seem to have taken up, does have some what seem like pretty big incentives, including debt financing and the breakup fee, so that's a new twist here.
Bloomberg's Tony Shushka says the board hasn't decided how to respond, as it still has a binding agreement with Netflix, but a move could ignite a second bidding war for the studio. Tax season has begun, but despite having until April 15th to file your return with the IRS, experts say you should start now, especially if you have questions. Here's Julie Siegel, the former deputy chief of staff of the Treasury Department.
If you make a mistake on your tax return or you get into a dispute with the IRS, you're probably going to be waiting for weeks or months or maybe even longer to fix that dispute.
Longer wait times are mostly due to critical staffing shortages at the IRS this season, which could also delay returns. Bitcoin's looking for a different direction after 4 straight weeks of losses. The cryptocurrency's weekend rally fizzled on Sunday, dropping another 2.6% for the week. Right now, Bitcoin is trading at less than $68,000. Meanwhile, U.S. natural gas tumbled to a 4-month low as warmer weather forecasts weigh on heating demands. Futures for March delivery slumped as much as 7.4% in early Asian trading. Markets closed in the U.S. for the President's Day holiday, but Wall Street will have its eyes on Amazon when trading resumes on Tuesday, as its stock is riding a 9-day losing streak, the longest in nearly 2 decades, with shares plummeting 18%. Investors are worried about Amazon's artificial intelligence spending plan this year, as the company wants to invest $200 billion on data centers, chips, and other equipment to support its AI ambitions. In Europe, though, the FTSE in London finished up 0.25%. The CAC in Paris closed 0.1% higher, while the DAX in Germany lost close to 0.5%. In Asia, the Nikkei in Japan finishing down 0.25%. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong ended up 0.5%, while China's CSI 300 lost 1.25%. At the Olympics in Milan Cortina, Norway leading the overall medal count with 27, Italy second with 22, the U.S. third with 17, tied with Japan, while the U.S. has won 5 gold medals, Norway with the most gold with 12. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Dan Schwarzman, and this is Bloomberg.